That would be really expensive too. And that's why you should subscribe to the Patreon.
Because it's $1.
Was that a great ad?
That
Yo,
was
you
just
look
sitting
like
there.
Macho Man Randy Savage, except
Oh, yeah.
less colorful.
I'm going the cream of the crop. If you think for a second I'm going to lose in this World WWE Tag Team Championship match, you have another thing coming.
Oh, God. You redlined. Welcome back to your favorite podcast, A Couple Fine Spot.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
This week, we're talking about a new scientific discovery.
This might get you hard.
I'm going to splooge the facts out, and then Collin's going to take it.
I'm going to take it to the other dimension that you can't see that's always around us.
Diedrichson land.
I can't, no.
Can't what?
So I'm starting to figure out, because in Western movies, when cowboys take their hat off, how they always wrap their hand all the way around, take it off like that.
That's a shitty hat.
I know, but still, I'm starting to understand why they're doing it. Because the back of the hat, great for hand grip. Absolutely perfect. Front of the hat, if you grab it, kind of sliding through your fingertips. Back here, you got a full grab. And you got the forearm and bicep to caress it.
Fascinating.
Catch me on Yellowstone.
Oh, dude, shout out Yellowstone.
Shout out Yellowstone.
Never seen it. Working for the guy who created it on my next job. Gonna be sick. Anyway, this week, what I was saying was
rudely interrupted.
I was gonna say that, but it wasn't that rude. So apparently, let's pull up the article.
Oh yeah.
Not apparently. I mean,
this is all factual.
It's a thing. This is
we're not bullshitting you right now.
This is from the New York Times because it was the first website I clicked without a paywall. But I wanted the Nat Geo one, but I didn't want to pay them.
Hey, Nat Geo,
because no one's subscribing to the Patreon, so we're broke.
Stop it.
Yeah,
stop it, Nat Geo.
Like Nat Geo as a fucking paywall. So anyway, there was let's start here. We're talking about new fucking humans. All right.
What?
So prehistoric humans, Neanderthals, or other lost species occupied what is now California. Specifically, evidence was found in San Diego from some 130,000 years ago. Now, to put into perspective why that's fucking nuts is because the first evidence of modern humans started to leave Africa and disperse themselves throughout the modern world during the last ice age, which was somewhere between 80,000 and 50,000 years ago. I know that's a big window, but science.
It is what it is.
So basically the New York Times is saying if what they found in San Diego is related to some sort of Homo sapien, they weren't modern. They were some sect of Neanderthals. But after we read through this and then did a little bit of research, basically what they found was they were building a noise barrier along some highway near San Diego. And the construction crew found the remains of a mastodon. But then when they called the necessary parties, and all these scientists came in and started examining the remains, and they found that the bones were very strategically broken. And then there were all these like very rudimentary SAT word tools kind of scattered around it. So they think that
who could do that?
They think that some unknown species of Neanderthal humans were harvesting bone marrow from this mastodon.
Shout out Graham Hancock.
130,000 years ago. So then I said, whoa. How'd they get here? So then we did a little bit of Ice Age research, and it turns out that in the same within a couple thousand years, in the same time frame, there was the second to last ice age. So we're taught that the last ice age, modern humans crossed the Bering Strait, the land bridge from Siberia into what would be like Alaska, and then disperse from there. This is saying that basically like 60,000 years before that, there was another ice age where these unknown species of human crossed the same thing following bisons, which were introduced to North America 130,000 years ago. So
See how it's adding up?
I think we agreed that they were probably following their food just as we were
Yes.
taught, just significantly earlier. And then somehow went down the coast, because every early civilization is based around water. So where are you going to go for water? The Pacific Ocean.
Wait a minute.
And then I guess they were killing off bison and mastodon to feed themselves. And somehow we found this preserved burial site.
If they're following the coast, does that mean they have a way to distill salt water?
Well, they had fire.
But if these primitive humans
Well, I'm
are
going to go ahead and
distilling
assume.
salt
I'm going to
water,
go ahead and assume it's like how every civilization ever has learned. Like some dude started chugging just salt water and fucking dropped dead, and then the rest of them were like, "How do we fix this?" And then someone, but how would you boil it? They didn't
Yeah.
have pots or anything.
So
Yeah, that's
if they're
interesting.
traveling the coast of the Pacific Ocean and they're somehow following, they need a fresh water source.
Well, how did ancient civilizations?
So they're either
Well,
following
yeah, I
a
guess they would
river,
just chill near fresh water.
yeah, or they're distilling salt water.
Well, it's very mountainous up there. There's plenty of fresh water on the West Coast. Well, I'm sure there used to be. Now now the whole fucking thing's in a drought. But
so let's say they're advanced enough to distill salt water. Are we now looking
or they had a freshwater
they had a freshwater source? Are we looking at because this article says there is a certain sect of
they're pre-modern
yeah, humanoid.
This says they were either Neanderthals or Denisovans.
Wow.
A mysterious lineage of human that split off from Neanderthals an estimated 400,000 years ago.
Oh, so 400,000 years ago, they're like, you guys are ridiculous.
We're going to go evolve over there.
So how do you think?
And then
are
they
we still going land bridge?
They found the Denisovans' remains in Siberia, which leads some of the people studying this to be like, okay, we found them essentially at the entrance of the land bridge. So who's to say some of them didn't cross over it following food and then eventually wind up in San Diego on the side of a highway, killing mastodons with primitive hammers.
Imagine
and harvesting their bone marrow.
But also of them that are like, you got to stay back just in case any more of us come. You have to direct the way. So you're going to stay here. Have a good time. Enjoy yourself.
I mean, but also who's to say it worked that way? Like it could have just been like a rebellious bunch of Neanderthals who were like, yo,
hell no, we won't go.
Fuck y'all. We're walking over that ice and seeing what's over there.
We are exploring past what you close-minded people think is the edge of this earth.
I think that's I think that's backwards. Yeah, that's definitely backwards. So then, before I let you take it away, because I have to pee.
I was going to say, I need a new beer.
I'll grab you one when I pee.
Oh, thank you.
Or you could have that one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'll get myself a new one. So then my next question was, being the resident debunker, outside of the Ice Age, once they were there, why are we finding mastodon bones and not human bones along anywhere near them? No one's found remains of these pre-modern human, this Denisovans.
Ooh.
So then we researched that. I will admit it was brief, but we did.
We did.
And basically what it said was these huge land mammals, their bones were preserved even in temperate climates because groundwater would seep in and replace the nutrients. However, with smaller things such as Neanderthals or Denisovans or smaller mammals, their bones in temperate climate, such as San Diego, post Ice Age, disintegrate because there's nothing like the groundwater isn't enough to preserve them, such as a larger animal bone.
There's a little
I don't know if that
science in
made
it,
sense. A little bit of
but
science.
there's a little
and then it
science
went on
sprinkled
to
in there.
say that the reason we find these crazy old remains in places like Siberia or within the Arctic Circle somewhere is because instead of water seeping in and replacing the minerals that are decaying, it just it just freezes, and then anything can last in a freezer.
Anything. Okay. So what if,
and that freezer being the fucking Earth, which I'm sure is better than my shitty Frigidaire in the kitchen or whatever brand fridge I have.
So because this
also shouts out this fucking
Yeah.
artwork from my boy Miles. Continue.
amazing, Miles. I love this. So they got into North America. They're headed toward California. They no longer have to worry about these warm ice age, these cold ice age temperatures. So they get here.
No, it's still the Ice Age.
Well, it's still the
But
ice
they're
age, but
saying-
maybe it's moderate.
They're saying they crossed over during the Ice Age. Then when the second to last Ice Age ended, everything thawed. And they were like, oh shit, it's fucking great here. So they stayed. And then they found the remains of a huge land animal.
I mean, right away.
But then after this whole thing happened, 60,000 years later, we had the last ice age, which allowed modern humans to go from Africa to Siberia to the Americas, and then now we're here.
So 7 to 12 years.
So this
human
is
bones disintegrate.
This is pre 7th grade social studies. We cross the Bering Strait.
What if? Because we know the Vikings, when one of their warriors or one of their villagers would die, they'd give them a burning death at sea. What if this group, instead of just burying or tossing their dead, gave them a burning burial?
Yeah. Or like the people in Nepal do. They gave them the sky burial.
Exactly. What if they're doing that?
If they even buried shit, I mean, who knows?
Maybe they ate them.
At this point in history, maybe they ate them. Maybe they were just like, that fucking sucks, and just left it there.
Shoo, gotta go.
Then a fucking saber-tooth tiger or whatever is around at the
Quick
time
meal.
didn't look into the predators 130,000 years ago.
Yeah, we're fighting some crazy fucking things.
We only looked into herbivore. Well, I don't know what was around. After I pee, I'll look it up. But something bigger came up and probably ate it.
Strolled away.
And then the point I was going to make with the decomposition, let's say they eat all the meat and shit, and then there's just a pile of Neanderthal bones. We looked into how long does it take for bones to disintegrate? And the answer is anywhere from, depending on the climate and the conditions. So Southern California, probably pretty quick, especially with all the thawing ice and whatnot. It could last anywhere from a couple years to a couple thousand years, but still 130,000 years. Unless you're in permafrost, no one's finding you, bro.
Nobody.
No one's fucking finding you, bro.
Good luck.
Especially in a dry ass place like Southern California.
Ooh, but what if it wasn't dry? What if Southern California?
Well, then there'd probably be remains. Unless this is where your conspiracy starts.
Remember,
I'm gonna fucking piss myself.
So remember that bullshit thing we were talking about, mudslides? The mudslide theory. That all these old ancient civilizations, all their creations, all their buildings were buried.
The like worldwide mudslide or whatever.
Yeah.
We never did it on an episode.
No, because it's so fucking stupid.
Here, so explain the stupidity.
All right, so here we go.
Going to piss myself.
I sent Jay Mac this video because we were looking for episodes one day, and it was about mudslides. Now, and not just any mudslides. I'm talking catastrophic worldwide mudslides that would happen after the Noah's Ark world flood story sort of deal. They're saying all these old ancient civilizations that build these buildings, that had these crazy infrastructure, all this wild technology, all of it was completely covered by these mudslides. So what if this group somehow made it over, maybe crossing the land bridge, maybe climbing over those glaciers, getting a little frosty, trying to get somewhere new. Maybe they did. In my mind, I kind of think they went down, crossed to South America, went across, followed this river over to the ocean, followed it up into California. Maybe they went over, following food. These mudslide theories would line up to the point that if these bones were buried in the ground, if they did have these ceremonial burials like we have funerals now, the mudslides would have completely destroyed any sort of remnants or any sort of casket or any sort of hole in the ground that they made for these people.
Well, there's no shot.
1,000%.
There's no shot if they're burying each other that they're fucking putting people in caskets.
That is true, but either way,
because also
those
the
bodies
first
are wiped away if the mud slide theory is true.
Off the top of my head, the first like burial, I guess, would be the Egyptians when they actually put you inside of something.
Yeah, because when Egyptians, Vikings were after, so Egyptians were the first to mummify their dead because they thought.
Well, outside of mummification, just putting them in a casket like thing.
But it was only the higher ups. It was only the pharaohs and the people who assisted the pharaohs sometimes.
First evidence of smoking weed.
Oh,
first evidence.
I was watching something on that, dude. There's a Joe Rogan episode with Graham Hancock and this other guy where there's this rundown altar that was used back during the, I can't remember if it was Romans or if it was before that, but it had a Christianity altar.
Yeah, so the casket industry traces its roots back to ancient Egypt. Oh, and Mesopotamia.
Oh, shit.
Where wood, cloth, and paper were used to make sarcophagus-style burial boxes. In Europe, the Celts, shouts out my people, began making caskets out of flat stones around the year 700. So yeah, dude, 130,000 years ago, they're not fucking burying people.
So if they're
also how you bury someone without a shovel.
You got rocks. So shovels used to be rocks.
Dude, I'm telling you, if I had to guess, I don't feel like researching it. I can, but I don't feel like it. If someone died, they would just fucking leave you there.
I really think it was
pure survival. They're not doing fucking.
Oh, but we have to also think.
Also,
if the food supply is so plentiful,
one of your only resources is fire. You think you're gonna waste that on fucking Jim Bob who drank too much salt water? Fuck that. Leave him on the beach.
So now that brings back around. We're finding these mastodon bones that were chipped away in such a certain manner that the marrow was extracted. And the only logical explanation is a group of humans did that.
Oh, I was absolutely wrong. Neanderthals really did bury their dead.
Oh, fuck.
Archaeologists in Iraq have discovered a new Neanderthal skeleton that appears to have been deliberately buried around 60,000 to 70,000 years ago.
Damn it, mud flood. Damn it, mud flood.
But still, that's not the time period we're talking about.
But either way, if they're doing
so this was around the same time that modern humans started spreading out of Africa.
Also,
but this is still almost 70,000 years after what we're talking about.
So if we're looking at this in a critical lens,
when's this article from?
There's the Neanderthals.
Because this article probably predates, February 18th, 2020.
Oh my God.
What we're talking about was discovered.
There's so many different sects of Neanderthal. Because what if the people that settled in California were midget type? The small person type. The super tiny type of Homo sapien.
Like the pygmies.
What if they were those?
Are pygmies even real, though?
Apparently,
is there really
South America where they discovered
fucking little people running around South America eating people?
Not right now, but they discovered a cave in South America that has indications that the pygmy tribe used the caves in South America and were a real group of people. But if there's a tribe of tiny little people that have just evolved over millennia, that have seen so much shit, that are just stealing full-grown people and eating them in the rainforest. How many of those little things do you think you can take one-on-one?
African pygmies of the Congo Basin. So are they even in South America? Southeast Asia?
Congo's in South America.
No, the Congo's in Africa. African pygmies, the hunter-gatherers
So
of
then
the
what's
Congo
the South
Basin.
American pygmy?
Doesn't say anything about it. So maybe that's just bullshit, because it seems like they're only in Africa and Southeast Asia. Yeah,
There is
Asia,
so
Asia and
much
the
of human
Pacific.
culture just gone.
Disputed presence in Australia, Indonesia, Southeast Asia.
Okay. So here,
Yeah, there's no evidence of pygmies in South America. That's funny.
that is hysterical. So here we go.
Madagascar.
We have all these, all this proof of ancient civilizations, all this proof of nomadic tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Nomadic tribes develop into these well-rounded, well-cultured ancient civilizations that we still see their structures today.
Well, some of them.
Some of them. What do you think happened to the close to 60,000 years of human civilization that is just lost?
I think, well, we've found some remains, but the only places we find them are really fucking cold. And that's what preserved their remains.
So for that 60,000 years, do you think
So I
people
think
just
that's why-
stayed in one place, or do you think they kept moving like they were?
No, I think they were fucking all over, especially to bring it back to what we were actually talking about, especially with the evidence we're presented now that they found human-like tools around a carcass with bones broken in a very specific way. Then they tested it actually on elephant bones in Tanzania with the same just like type rock, and it broke basically the same way. And the way it shattered and what they found was essentially exactly the same as what they found in San Diego. So I think scientists, since it's all based off the given evidence, said, no, we were here for this time period. But in reality, and outside of science and given evidence, I think these Neanderthals or these ancient people were fucking everywhere. But based off the climates that they died in, they decomposed. They're in the dirt. There's no way, there's no evidence.
Yeah.
Because then as we Googled, while we were looking up the bone thing, literally nothing lasts forever. 130,000 years is a very long time.
Inconceivable.
So who's to hypothesize that these people weren't spread out all over the place, killing mastodons and bison and shit, and there's no remains because they just decomposed?
Yeah, because if we're following,
it's like I said earlier,
history.
It's like I said earlier, they could just be fossil fuel. And then the dinosaur remains, I know at home you're saying, well, what about the dinosaur bones?
Where's the dinosaur bones?
Already explained that. Those are so well preserved because they're big enough to accept the nutrients going on around them.
Dinosaurs didn't exist.
Well,
Dinosaurs are made up.
That's the episode you wanted to do.
No, that is the
off.
episode that would have made me shit my fucking pants. I would have pulled my pants down and took a poop in them on the Patreon.
Squatting over your pants. You know, my 8th grade. No. One of my science teachers, don't remember the grade or which science, like earth, biology, whatever, wherever you learn about dinosaurs, she taught us all about dinosaurs. And then the last lesson of that week or, whatever, was about how she didn't believe in dinosaurs. And we're like, you're a fucking science teacher.
You motherfucker.
But her thing wasn't even the video you sent me. It was like people made them out of like paper mache and buried them. And then we're like, look what we found. Yeah, dude, her theory was absurd. We should get her on the, Terry Rich, if you're watching, come on the pod.
Terry Rich?
Yeah, nah, she was the goat. She was
what a name.
She was my favorite fucking teacher, but then she dropped the dinosaur bomb and all of us were like, what?
Gone. Brownie points gone.
I think they definitely fucking existed.
Dinosaurs existed.
You ever seen Jurassic Park, dude?
You know, I will say though, someone made up a T-Rex roar and all of us went with it. All of us went with it.
What, for Jurassic Park?
Yup. They just made up a dinosaur roar and all of us were like, that's fucking spot on.
But also that's showbiz, baby.
Bro, Jurassic Park, bro. The new one that's about to come out.
I didn't even know there was a new one until yesterday.
Jurassic World Domain. Here's something.
Didn't they already do the one where the dinosaurs take over the world? What, like, what are they going to fucking space with Ludacris now? What's going on
with Ludacris and Vin Diesel? It's all about family.
It's all about genome,
family. What if?
Oh God.
What if? Because now humans were around so much longer than we expected. What if they keep going back and back and back and back? Because remember how scientists were like, there is no shot that humans ever interacted with dinosaurs. Millennia went by before each other were around. What if we keep discovering more and more and more to where it finally comes out that's, wait a minute. There was a sect of Homo sapien that did live in the late Cretaceous.
Just got murdered by dinosaurs.
Just got slaughtered by these main food source of dinosaurs, which is why it caused some of the Homo sapiens to go far north into the cold Alaskan wilderness.
But that also kind of ties into the whole point I was making, which is like, even if that happened at this point, I guess unless they did go crazy far north and get preserved, but no, because even if they went to where it was cold, the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs like reset the planet.
That is so true.
So even if it was cold enough to preserve, basically everything on Earth got nuked out and like reset.
That's a great point.
So there is no, like, you could be 100% right, or what these people who are very evidence-based are saying could be 100% right. At this point, based off the article we researched before we did this, I don't know if anyone's right.
Who knows if we're
because at this point, you can't go strictly based on. There's a lot of evidence pointing to Neanderthals being in North America before we thought they were in North America. But there's no physical evidence of that. It's fucking nuts, dude.
I mean, back to humans taking over the known world. These Homo sapiens, my man.
Yeah.
If we had to summarize everything that we thought, would you say crossing the land bridge, type of humanoid, climbing the glaciers, following the buffalo, following the herd, no matter what's at stake? Or would you say down around into South America, following a river to the ocean, or up?
That made no sense.
Which way they would travel? If you have to summarize which way they would travel
to North America?
Yeah.
They came through the Bering Strait.
So you're going with what the
no doubt
said?
about that.
Because I don't know.
You think these motherfuckers built boats and crossed the Pacific Ocean?
I kind of feel like we're not giving them enough credit.
Isn't the Pacific Ocean the largest body of water?
They're harvesting marrow out of bones, though.
Bro, no. They didn't cross the fucking ocean.
If they can make tools fine enough to
harvesting marrow out of necessity is one thing, but building a boat that could get you across the deadliest body of water, no.
But we built boats out of necessity to travel.
Yeah, and that's fine and dandy. That's great, but like not across the Pacific Ocean.
But what about the Samoan cultures that built these rafts with just sails that would cross
that
over?
Was
I mean, I know that's
literal
in the millennia in the future, but what's not to say they were doing it?
Or not millennia, but that was like hundreds of centuries after this.
Who's not to say? We have.
No one is. Now I sound like a hypocrite based off what I was saying before you went to the bathroom, but I think we have to draw a line somewhere in the San Diego sand and say, yeah, they could have made it there. And yeah, they could have been advanced enough to be like, we're hungry. What more can we get out of this? But to build a boat and cross the Pacific Ocean, no. And also, our whole argument that we've been talking about the whole fucking time is it was frozen.
I wonder.
Or at least the Bering Strait was. I doubt the entire Pacific froze over because then life probably would have ceased to exist.
Do you think there was a certain area of the Pacific between land masses that was just small enough to where it would have a walkable amount of ice sheet on it? Because if all the continents are so close together, not besides the Bering Strait. I mean, the Bering Strait is obvious enough. But if the Bering Strait is possible on one side, what's not to say it was completely plausible on another side?
I mean, just distance, because like the other side would be.
But if we're talking Pangea,
well, we're not, because we also did that research, and Pangea was millions of years before these people. Like the continents were separated at the time that this happened. We researched that. We looked into that. You're the one who Googled it and told me that.
Well, no, that was you.
Either way, it doesn't matter. We already figured out that, because I said, oh, Pangea, they could have just walked from Africa to California. But then we looked it up, and Pangea was like almost pre-life form.
So I wonder if there was
it was pre-human. It was definitely pre-human.
What if there was another land bridge?
That was another episode we never did. The fucking 8th continent or whatever that bullshit was.
That's right. What if there wasn't that random ass land bridge?
There couldn't have been.
Wow, are you sure?
Because it would have had to be from like I don't even know.
Yeah, if we're
like India, it would have had to be from like India or like the Philippines or South Africa to Australia, connecting land bridge to Hawaii, connecting land bridge to the Americas. That's absurd. There's no fucking way. That's hundreds of thousands of miles.
Yeah, because it'd have to go.
And like I said, the only way would be if the entire Earth was frozen over. And I don't think any form of life could exist if, like, we know Ice Age, but to freeze the Pacific Ocean.
What if Australia was in a different point?
Even if it was closer to one or the other, it's still hundreds of thousands of miles.
That is true. That is a there would 100% be evidence of that.
You can see Russia, Siberia from Alaska. Like, that's feasible. But like Hawaii itself, off the top of my head, is at least like 1,200 miles off the coast.
Yeah, because there would be some sort of evidence of the tectonic plate shifting in that manner. That would have been brought up ages ago. Because unless Hawaii itself, the islands of Hawaii were once original, just part of a giant landmass.
I was way the fuck off. The shortest distance between USA and Hawaii is 3,623 miles. The shortest distance.
Ooh.
And that's just the last leg of this land bridge that you're suggesting.
Yeah.
And from Australia to Hawaii, I can't even imagine.
The possibilities are endless here. Because you could go the route we're going. There was one possible option. They said, fuck it, we're taking the land bridge. Or you could try and make the argument of that's a fucking hike.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a hike.
And then I don't feel like even looking it up. So the shortest distance from Australia to Hawaii is 5,594 miles.
Gads.
That's a big ass bridge.
Bro.
But then from Australia to India, Polynesia, or South Africa.
Yeah.
That's got to be double that. Hawaii's in the middle of fucking nowhere, dude.
What are they saying that is?
It's the flight path,
Oh, so the red line's the flight
but also
path.
it's kilometers.
But what about this little random thing over there?
Oh, I think these are the plates. Sometimes they do the,
So let's say this plate right here.
or that could be a time zone thing. I don't
It
know.
could be. Let's go off a plate. Let's say this plate
Yeah,
was
it's got to
above
be a time
ground.
zone thing.
If it was above
No,
ground,
it's not a plate. That's got to be a time zone thing.
yeah, there's no shot. I mean, but no, not even the islands line up. Because if I'm trying to make some sort of conspiracy out of this, I'm looking at these islands here, and these islands don't even line up with any sort of path over there.
That's what I'm saying.
So there's no, it have to be
And
from
that's
here.
That's, let's say, 50,
Oh, wait a minute, though.
5,600 miles.
No, because you'd have to go from here to here, and there'd have to be some sort of bridge to there and there. That's way too fucking long.
The bridge was here.
Yeah, so fuck, there's no possible way they went down and around unless the earth is flat.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up.
Unless we're living in a simulation.
Anyway, this has been.
A couple bucks.
We should probably do that soon, though.
We should. I have no other points to make.
Yeah,
this was so interesting.
We're just talking shit at this point. So let's before we do this has been, let's just. Do you think? Are you on the same page as me? I'll give my concluding thought and ask you a question at the same time.
Okay.
Are we on the same page of? Outside of the like 4 scientists who were like, there's no fucking way. This was definitely plausible. And the only reason it's not confirmed is because there's no human remains, because as we learned, it's just where they found the mastodon remains. There's no way a human bone could survive that long.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page.
Yes.
So this was definitely possible.
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind. This is very, very.
And I'm not saying it definitely happened, but it definitely
Very.
fucking happened. Bless you.
Thank you. Last thing I want to say, this has been a pretty clean episode. So
Has it? We said the M word and the R word in the same episode.
we're going to bleep it. I don't know.
Should I just?
It's been pretty clean. So
Wait.
Foster Grant eyewear, eyeglass, sunglasses, whatever you go by. These are amazing.
They're the hip new trend.
Hip new trend. Go to their website. There's no discount for using Couple Pines Pod, but Foster Grant.
But maybe if you buy some shit, they'll give us a discount code.
Exactly. If you were to come to us, I'm sure we could get you a large amount of clientele. Just saying.
Depending on your definition of large.
Pocket lint large.
Like a half a baker's dozen large.
Also, Reality Records. If you're watching,
Promote us, my dog.
promote it on Reality Records.
Number 1 fucking interaction with our channel. Fucking you promote us, bro. Fuck.
We told you a good amount of pocket lint, and the sky's the limit. Balls in your court.
Or in your mouth.
Or in your mouth.
Anyway.
Fuck you, Reality Records.
Anyway.
This has been
A Couple Pines Pod.
It's safe to say.
Follow those buffalo wherever they're leading you, you beautiful son of a bitch.
You beautiful son of a bitch.
All right, we out.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Subscribe to the Patreon. Love you. Bye.